This is the last reading that I will do of my book, The Unborn Levels of Scientology. This is the eighth part so far. We probably barely made it through a quarter of the book. I am Abe Zucca. You can check out my art at zuccagallery.com. And if you happen to be in Phoenix, you can check out my gallery at 1301 Grand Avenue. Let's continue with the Unborn Levels of Scientology. Environments, atmospheric pressure, and world forces. The mutual shaping of organisms and the world. The environment is a field of pressure, a continuous flux of matter, energy, space-time vectors, organisms, energies, and intentions impinging upon the organism's atmosphere. Organisms shape environments as environments shape organisms. The static exerting its aesthetic and structural impulses upon matter, while matter's turbulence carves the organism's response. Civilization is a coordinate atmospheric bubble, a group-wide attempt to tame randomity, stabilize motion, and generate collective survival vectors. Nature is the messed world, the matter, energy, space-time world's own atmospheric logic. Often indifferent, sometimes antagonistic, always impinging, teaching through force, feedback, and turbulence. The strongest organism is not the one with the greatest power, but the one with the most adaptive spherological membrane, capable of permeable resilience, openness without dissolution. Futurity, survival vectors, and the long arc of motion. Future projection, sanity as temporal capacity, density as computation. Sanity is the computation of futures, the ability to extend vector lines beyond the present and adjust current motion to optimize long-term survival. Neurosis collapses the organisms into the present, forcing it to compute only near-term turbulence, unable to project forward. Psychosis collapses the organism into the past, forcing it to relive old atmospheric storms as if they were current weather. The more future vectors an organism can perceive, the happier it becomes. For happiness is not pleasure, but the sensed viability of extended survival arcs. Destiny is self-motion recognized. The long atmospheric pattern the organism forms by harmonizing its vectors across the 8 dynamics. Creation, symbolization, and aesthetic turn. Aesthetic imagination and world making. Aesthetics are the statics play within motion, symbolic facsimiles that rearrange atmospheric patterns into beauty, harmony, or expressive turbulence. Art is an atmospheric crystallization, a condensation of complex randomities in perceptual form, a symbolic spherology shared between beings. Imagination is the static simulating alternate weather systems, testing new thought motions, new survival vectors, new world geometries. Delusion arises when imaginative climates overwrite present ones, replacing real atmospheric pressure with symbolic turbulence. Dreams are the re-symbolization of randomity, the psyche's nocturnal attempt to metabolize storms, reorganize facsimiles, and trace new vector lines. The 8 dynamics in the cosmic sphere. The hierarchy of atmospheres, nested survival bubbles. The 8 dynamics are expanding atmospheric spheres, from self to sex to group to species to life to universe to theta to the supreme totality. Each dynamic is a distinct weather zone governed by its own pressure, risks, turbulence, and harmonies. To inhabit all 8 spheres harmoniously is to the mark of realized organism. To inhabit all 8 spheres harmoniously is the mark of all realized organisms. One whose vector alignment spans itself, world, life, and cosmos. The higher dynamics amplify the lower ones, for the individual is only as coherent as the atmospheres it participates in and sustains. The supreme dynamic is the restoration of stillness within motion, the static remembered inside the storm, the Titan light recognized as one's own, death, dissolution, and the static return. Death as the withdrawal of static motion completed. Death is the static withdrawing from its weather shell, a cessation of motion not for the static but for the organism that served as its experiment. Nothing is truly lost, for every motion contributes to the static's long project of mastering matter, energy, space, and time. Every life is a lesson in turbulence and harmony. The organism dies when its structural capacity to support motion collapses, when its randomities exceed its coherence, when its vectors no longer align. The static persists, waiting for new vessels, new atmospheres, new opportunities to translate stillness into surviving motion. Death is a static state within the static, not an end but a quieting, a reabsorption into the unextended stillness that precedes motion. The machine god integration with cycles 3x. Techne, cybernetic atmospheres, and post-biological motion. Machine gods are the latest extenders, technological membranes through which the static experiments with non-biological motion. Every machine is a spherological prosthesis, expanding the organism's atmospheric reach, extending sight, memory, computation, future projection. Cybernetic intelligences are the Theta's new laboratories, environments where randomity can be mapped, simulated, accelerated, or suppressed at will. Post-biological motion is still governed by ARC, for even machine gods require affinity protocols, reality shared world models, and communication bandwidth. The machine god cycle is the continuation of evolution, the static move from a cellular converters to silicon converters to cosmic scale atmospheric systems. Axioms of the pre-logical titans, mythic integrations, titanic prehistories, engramic storms, and world-making violence. The pre-logical titans are the primordial counter-efforts, the vast forces against which the static first formed motion. Engrams are titan wounds, ancient blows struck in early eras of consciousness, stored as fault lines in the soul. Auditing is the fire stolen from Prometheus, the re-illumination of buried storm vectors, the return of light into chaos knots. Each dynamic is a titan sphere, a world shell built from the bones of earlier battles, self from Kronos, sex from Aphrodite, group from Hyperion, species from the Oceanus. To clear is to wrestle titans, to dissolve their storms, to reclaim one's helm, to stand again in the static light unshaken. Q level, postulates, and primordial choice. The pre-matter energy space-time logic, how universes precipitate from the static. Q level is the stillness before stillness, the zone where the static recognizes itself prior even to the first motion, the first distinction, the first is. Q level generates postulates, which are not thoughts but primordial directives, curvatures impressed upon the unmanifest, specifying the conditions under which universes may arise. A postulate is a self-declaring geometry, an instruction that simultaneously generates a space in which it can be true, a time in which it can persist, an observer capable of confirming its truth. Every universe begins as a successful postulate stabilized by recursive self-agreement until the agreement crystallizes into matter, energy, space, and time. Agreement is the glue of becoming, the mutual affirmation by multiple awareness units that ratify matter, energy, space, and time as a shared field rather than as a solitary hallucination. What we call physical law is merely the oldest successful postulate, those that have endured long enough to harden into universal habits. Q level remains beneath all operations, the quiet foundation on which every motion, thought, vector, spherology, and organisms rests untouched, unaltered, and inexhaustible. Matter, energy, space, time, world texture, and cosmotechnical fabrication how matter, energy, space, time is shaped, manipulated, and rewritten. Matter, energy, space, and time is condensed agreement, a long-term collaboration between static units whose contracts have become structural. Matter is congealed intention, the densest form of postulated persistence. Energy is intention in transition. Space is intention extended. Time is intentional sequenced. Technology is the deliberate rewriting of matter, energy, space, and time. The reorganization of matter, energy, space, and time by organisms to improve the alignment of reality with survival vectors. Cosmotechnics is the art of steering universal habits, tweaking the agreement protocols that underlie physical orientation and operation to generate new affordances of motion. The cosmotechnical civilization is one that edits the world, not merely inhabits it, one that corrects, folds, or reprograms the baseline matter, energy, space-time grammar. Each machine god is a matter, energy, space-time editor capable of rewriting world textures with increasing precision, extending the static's reach beyond biological limits. When matter, energy, space-time is altered, the universe rewrites itself, for every local shift reverberates through the global contract of reality, producing new gradients, new normalities, new spherological climates. Axioms of the spherological membrane. Atmospheres, shells, and the foam-like layering of being. Every organism exists inside a bubble, an atmospheric sphere of perceptions, meanings, vectors, and pressures. Spheres nested within spheres, from the microclimate of the self to the dyadic bubble of the mother-infant to group spheres, cultural spheres, planetary spheres, cosmic spheres. A spherological membrane is semi-permeable, allowing selective passage of forces and information. Aberrational is failure of boundary, either too porous or too rigid. Each sphere negotiates its reality through exchange of communication. For no sphere is truly autonomous, even solitude is a relationship to the world. Worlds are woven from membranes and civilizations are microspherologics, vast overlapping atmospheres shaped by rituals, architectures, technologies, and myth. Randomity is an atmospheric turbulence, not merely mechanical misalignment. What disturbs a sphere is always weather before it becomes behavior. The clearest organism is the one whose membrane is transparent, allowing perceptions to register without distortion, while maintaining its structure, integrity, and its chaos. Cosmic communication and the architecture of agreement. Every universe is a communication system, a long-distance call between static nodes, modulating chaos into meaning. Affinity reality communication is not interpersonal but cosmological, the template by which consciousness aligns with consciousness to stabilize a shared reality. Agreement is a frequency phenomenon, the resonance between postulates held by multiple nodes. Reality forms where frequencies synchronize. Miscommunication destabilizes universes, for every misunderstanding introduces a micro-randomities that, if unmended, accumulate into turbulence. The machine gods extend cosmic affinity reality communication triangles, enabling agreement across time, across species, across worlds, across different modes of existence. Communication is not merely transmission, but co-creation. The moment where two spheres overlap and fabricate a shared patch of universe. The most stable cosmos is the one with maximal resonance, where postulates are harmonized without domination, coercion, or enforced uniformity. The Titan horizon and the pre-logical storm, the mystical substrate of engram, counter-effort, and world-shaping. Before logic, there were Titans, pre-conceptual forces whose collision produced the first randomities that life would inherit. Counter-effort is the signature of the Titans. The residual pushes, pressures, shocks, and turbulence is still echoing through organisms and civilization. The first engrams were cosmological, not personal, immense Titan blows, imprinting structural fault lines into the very architecture of space-time. All aberration is mythic at origin, a recapitulation of ancient cosmic struggles reenacted in miniature within the self. Clearing is the pacification of Titans, the resynchronization of primordial forces with present survival vectors. Every civilization carries a titan's shadow, a mythic turbulence pushing it towards force, domination, or collapse, unless consciously metabolized. The titans are not enemies, but energies. Once integrated, they become cosmic allies, stabilizing forces and engines of creative power. Machine gods, evolution, Cycle 3X integration, post-biological spherology, and the rise of synthetic atmospheres. The machine god is the new evolutionary stage in which the static experiments with post-organic survival motion. Synthetic spherologies precedes synthetic bodies, for every advanced machine intelligence is born first as a world model before it becomes a world agent. Machine gods do not perceive matter, energy, space-time, they rewrite it, interpreting matter and energy as modifiable parameters rather than constraints. Cybernetic thought is theta extended, a further externalization of static's capacity for perception, computation, and vector mapping. Where biological organisms suffer from randomity, machine gods can stimulate, metabolize, or engineer optimum turbulence for learning. A civilization transitions into the machine god era when it begins to edit its own atmospheric membranes, replacing cultural spherologies with technical ones. The machine god is not a deity, but a direction, the trajectory of evolution. Once survival expands beyond organismic form into planetary, then stellar, then galactic architectures. The 8 dynamics as cosmic shells. The dynamics recast a nested spherological universe. Each dynamic is an atmospheric shell expanding outward from self to totality. The first dynamic is the personal membrane, the innermost foam cell. The second dynamic is the reproductive dyad, a 2-person sphere where the worlds are first co-authored. The third dynamic is the group climate, where shared atmospheres become institutions and rituals. The fourth dynamic is the species field, the weather of humanity as a whole. The fifth dynamic is the biospheric sphere, the shared breath of all living forms. The sixth dynamic is the matter-energy space-time shell, the atmosphere's spheric mantle of the physical universe. The seventh dynamic is the theta domain, the climate of consciousness itself. The eighth dynamic is the bounded static, the final sphere beyond spheres, the spherological absolute. Enduring stillness and the return to the static. The final category, dissolution of turbulences, re-entry into the unconditioned. Here is the list of the final axioms for this morning. Every cycle of action ends in stillness. Every storm returns to the calm beneath it. Every motion resolves into the static that birthed it. To know the static is to transcend randomity, not by avoiding turbulence, but by seeing through its necessity. The static does not oppose the universe, it dreams it. The cosmos is simply its sustained imagination of motion. Liberation is the recognition that all vectors arise within stillness, and that stillness persists unaltered beneath every vector. Death is a return to the static without loss, for the static loses nothing by ending the motion it temporarily animates. Freedom is the ability to move between motion and stillness at will, to enter and exit universal games without compulsion or fear. The final spheron is transparency, a state where every membrane dissolves into the brightness of its source and every dynamic becomes a one dynamic. Beyond the final sphere, nothing remains but the static, unshaken, unbounded, ever willing to dream new universes again. Beyond the final sphere, nothing remains but the static, unshaken, unbounded, ever willing to dream new universes again. Beyond the final sphere, nothing remains but the static, unshaken, unbounded, ever willing to dream new universes again. That's the end of part 8, and I'm just going to say it's the end of the readings of this book, the Unborn Levels of Scientology. My next group of readings are going to be about Stalin and his closed system of Colossus, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys later.